All right, what's up, everybody? Welcome to Cycle Jerks Podcast, episode 130. We are excited for today's episode because this is our first episode with an official sponsor. So we're gonna do,
Woo!
we're gonna do the format's gonna be a little different this time. We're gonna introduce our sponsor, talk a little bit about them, and then we'll be joined by our guest, Monica B, the cycling CEO on Instagram, and we'll chat with her when she comes in. But
Yeah, but we
Dave,
also want to use a few minutes to catch up because Mike and I don't get to ride as much as we did anymore. So I got lots of shit to talk to you about, Mike.
yeah, okay, awesome.
So
Let's do it. All right, so tell us about our
our
sponsor,
sponsor,
Dave.
yeah. So this is incredible. We must be doing something right. Actually,
Yeah.
people actually want to sponsor us. We got Phil Guyman, Phil's Cookies is coming on board, and but this episode is sponsored by Lean Athlete Strength, right? It's a brainchild of the friend of the friend of the pod, Dara Sport PT, and it's awesome because I've done this now. I'll get into that in a bit, but you download the Lean Strength Athlete app on Apple or Android, and then there you get the workouts specifically for cycling and running. She's got like strength training, she's got core, she's got stretching, warm up, and cool down routine for pre and post rides, right? And again, this is what's cool about it is really cycling specific. And the one I got, she's got her bike in the background, and when she does a workout, she'll point to some part of the body and then show how it pertains to your position on the bike, right? So she's a runner, she's a cyclist, so this is what she does. um Remember, she's real big on protein, right? So you can subscribe to this Lean Athlete Strength. I think she's got a Lean Athlete meal too, but you can get plant-based meal plans that you can subscribe to. And she's also got a YouTube channel. If you want to see how good it is, just some of this, she's got a Dara Sport PT. Just search YouTube, and you'll see she's got all kinds of workouts on that as well.
Same on Instagram too,
Um,
Dave. Right? She's at
oh
Dara
yeah, yeah,
Sport
yeah,
PT on Instagram. Yep.
yeah. That's right. Yeah, good
Yep.
point.
Yep.
Um, and I said this before, but who better to do this than Dara, right? She's totally legit. Not only is she a cyclist and a runner, but she's physical therapist, certified personal trainer, certified nutritionist, right? So if I'm going to take advice, I want someone that's got the street cred, right?
Yeah.
Anyways, I bought the 28-day body strength plan, and I'm going to start that up as soon as but Sue got me on this 30-day yoga plan. So as soon as I get through this, I'm going to start up the, you don't want to see it. It's not a pretty picture, but you want to see it, but I'm doing yoga. So anyways, thank you, Lean. Um, Thank you. Excuse me, Lean Athlete Strength, for being our sponsor, and we look forward to a long relationship.
Yeah. Well, and I have to say, Dara's been on the podcast a couple times, and she gave me some of the I don't know, it wasn't like I mean, I'd heard it before, but the way that she put it to me just made me focus more on it, and that's getting more protein in. And that's been a big change for me in my recovery. Yeah,
Oh
so
yeah,
yeah, she
yeah.
knows her stuff, and even the free content on Instagram is really great. But if you really want to get dialed, check out the program that Dave's on. And
Yeah, I got the app. I got the app. It's pretty cool. Pretty cool. And the stuff's not that expensive. Mine was $30 for 28-day workout. So it's pretty great.
right, about
So
$1 a day, a little bit more.
there you go. There
Yeah.
you go. Yeah,
All
and
right.
she's got a whole other bunch of other programs. This is just the one that I picked, 28-day.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Right on. Okay. Cool. Well, thank you.
yeah, thank you, Dara. Right
Yes.
on.
All
So
right. So what's going on with you, man? Did you get a job yet? Come on.
no, I'm
Yeah.
trying, man. It's not for maybe if I spent less time on the bike, maybe I could find one.
There you go.
But I do have a pro tip though. Pro tip.
Oh, okay, here we
Yeah.
go. Are you a pro?
Two, yeah, well, almost two things about my ride. This is why we don't get to talk enough.
Yeah.
First of all, don't ride after you donate blood.
Okay. Is that,
There's something about, I guess there's something about that blood that carries oxygen that
yeah,
it,
right?
I totally screwed up. I really like to donate blood and platelets, right? There's always there was this demand out there. Like
Yeah.
it was on Facebook, it was on LinkedIn when I was looking for a job, and they said, well, there's this blood shortage, and I was kind of pissed off that I didn't do it before I took 2 weeks off the bike. So I said, so I went down there on Wednesday afternoon. I donated blood. I got on the trainer on Saturday. Fuck. I mean, I'm like gasping for air. I kept switching routes on Zwift, thinking, "Oh, it's got to be the route. It can't be me." And then
Dang.
I thought, it was awful, and it was still bad yesterday out on the road.
So
Still
4 days later, and you're still floundering.
I've heard, and I'd love someone to chime in on this. I've heard as much as yesterday was okay. Yesterday was manageable, but I still wasn't. I don't think 100%. I've heard as much as 7 days because if you donate a pint of blood, you only it's 1/5 of your blood of your body.
Yeah.
I think that's the number. So you're taking a big chunk of big portion of your blood and giving it away, right? And so if that's what's carrying your oxygen, then so definitely Saturday. Yesterday was marginal. I had my moments. So
Yeah. Well, you brought up Swift. Have you done that climbing portal thing
I
that they've added?
started I started to do it. But one thing that I didn't do it, and it was like when I did it, I was like 4 pedal strokes into it. Next thing I'm in the climbing portal at 12%. Like I
Yeah,
didn't get any warm up,
right.
right?
It starts
And
intense.
yeah, like a
Yeah.
little foreplay before the sex, right? I mean,
Yeah.
come on.
Yeah.
So I bailed on it because I didn't know what to expect. And I started pedaling and it's like, okay, wait, 12%, 14%. I'm like, fuck. Like I just didn't have a warm up. Right.
Dude, I
So
mean,
is that any
if you
good?
oh yeah, if you do the heroic version, like it's 125% of the gradient. The
Yeah.
I think it's like 29%.
Yeah.
There are segments where
I,
it goes, I mean, it only gets there for just a split second, but like, the zones where it's red, the red is the more intense section. And
yeah.
yeah, it'll go from, I mean, it goes like, 12, 14, 18, 20, 22, 28, and then to
Yeah.
29. It's crazy.
I don't have the gearing for that. I'm still got I don't have the gearing for so I'd love to try it, but I've actually that's brutal. That sounds brutal. That sounds like Dirty Summit stuff, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty crazy. But it's fun because there's a lot of just a lot of new challenges on there.
Yeah,
Watopia gets kind of old after a while. There's only so many climbing options in
yeah,
there. Yeah.
yeah.
All right. Well,
And
it looks
well in the scenery though, what was this what's the
it's
scenery
kind of
didn't look as
bizarre.
good.
Yeah, no, definitely not. It's like it's more video game like. It's you're on this track. Um
Yeah.
it's really kind of strange, the visual.
Yeah, I looked like I was in some when I started getting into it, it looked like I was in some game at Chuck E. Cheese or something like that. It just like was just and
Yeah,
so that was it kind of turned me off at first. I'll give it a try, but
sure.
yeah.
Sure. All right.
So
Well, hey, it looks like we're joined by today's guest. Um, Monica, are you there?
I'm testing my mic. Hello.
Oh, hello. All
It's
right.
freezing here in South Korea.
Wow. Well, it's
I
freezing here in Northern California too.
Oh, I
it,
bet you it's colder here.
yeah, it's not really that cold here, but Mike gets relegated to his garage, so he's out. He's
Yeah, I've got a lot of
uh,
layers on.
so wait, you're in South Korea.
Yeah, I've moved out here a couple of months ago. I believe around September. I'm gonna stay out here for a good 2 years.
Oh.
I've been wanting to cycle as many of the Asian countries, and it's really difficult to go to an Asian country coming from California. So,
All right. All right.
so
So a couple things. So how cold is it? I see you got your beanie on. So how cold is it?
yeah, it can go as low as -9
Ooh.
degrees Celsius. So I don't know what that is in Fahrenheit,
Ooh.
but it's
Oh,
cold.
Yeah.
Luckily, Korea is very well equipped in their households. We have heated floors and
Wow.
all that good stuff. Yeah. We don't
Nice.
have that
heated?
in the US.
Hell
At least
no.
No,
I
we
don't.
don't.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
either.
And, and
Yeah.
and you went there from where in California? You were California based?
Yeah, I'm pretty much raised in Los Angeles.
Oh,
Okay.
Raised
okay.
born in the Philippines, but
Yeah.
raised in LA, yeah.
Wow.
So
So
I didn't know anything under below 40 degrees.
yeah, that's a big shock. Yeah. You still got a
Hey,
pretty good sense of humor about it. If I was there, I don't know
Super.
how much of a sense of humor I'd have about it.
Yeah. Well, I gotta tell you though, their food's pretty good. The culture is amazing. I mean, I love a lot of things about it. So
right.
there's a balance. Although I guide outside, I'm learning to do more indoor writing, which is odd, but
That's great.
it's all
I
good.
moved
We gotta do what
I
we gotta
moved to
do.
Korea. I moved to Korea to ride through Asia, and I'm doing it all on Zwift. Way to go.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
Well,
so
hey, if it's -9 Celsius, Dave, you don't
yeah,
have a
yeah,
choice.
yeah. You're talking about a guy that won't
Yeah.
ride if it's below 40. So
I mean,
Yeah.
either that or get sick, right? It's like kind
Yeah.
of just to be outside.
Yeah.
But I did not
hey,
know, by the way, Korea is so addicted to Grand Fondos. Like I'm looking at their schedule of Grand Fondos here. There's one every week,
Oh,
starting in
wow.
March. Starting in March all the way through June, at least from their schedule. Every week there's a Grand Fondo here. I'm like shocked.
Uh-huh.
So
so I got a couple of questions here. So I want hold that thought for a second. So I know I was looking at you, and you tell me about your family. So your immediate family. So hubby, right? Because he rides with you, right?
mm-hmm.
Okay. Kids.
I have one son. He's 20 already. So
Okay.
I'm pretty much
Okay.
kicking myself out.
Yeah.
All right. So that makes it a little easier. All you have to do is
Yeah.
convince hubby that you're going. You don't have to uproot the family, pull them someplace for 2 years, then go someplace else. Because
Yeah. And
I'm trying to envision that conversation with my wife, and it just wouldn't go over very well.
well, the whole thing was really his idea to come out here. He got offered a job out here. And
Oh, okay.
I said, totally get it. I'm like, totally get it, because it made sense for us, because I want to, for me too, to come out here for a little bit. So the opportunity opened up, and
Oh, got
took
it.
it. Yeah.
Got it.
But I'm so
Wow.
glad he's a cyclist, because he understands the business that I'm in, and I'm hoping for him to travel with me more often in the years to come. So
Yeah. You
Yeah.
say the business that you're in, but let's face it, he understands the addiction that you have, right?
Yeah.
he has more bikes than me, which I'm not saying anything, because that's kind of like in lieu of my travels. I get to
Right.
travel, he gets more bikes. So I
Right.
guess we're even.
That's a good trade-off. Yeah.
Same
Yeah.
price, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Actually, I think the traveling might actually be cheaper. So
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's true.
It can be.
That's true. But you add it up, man. If you start traveling every month, which is the plan, yeah, it can get costly just on plane tickets. They're not
right.
cheap as it was in 2020.
No,
Yeah.
no.
All right. I'm going to do what Dave usually does. Let's back up just a little bit, because we didn't really give you a proper introduction. This is our first time. We kind of try in a new format where we brought on a sponsor, and we were chit-chatting before you came in. But so you are Monica B. as you go by online,
Monica
and
Busby, yeah.
Monica
Mhm.
Busby. Okay. And you're the cycling CEO on
Yeah,
Instagram.
yes.
And then you've also started another page. The but the I don't have it right on the top of my head. Go ahead, tell
The
us.
Cycle Travel Club, uh-huh.
Cycle Travel
Yeah.
Club. So
Yeah.
I'm
Mhm.
curious, is this a hobby or is this a business? Or is
Well,
it kind of a hobby that's turning into a business? Can you
it
kind of
started, yeah. It started off as a hobby. Actually, it started off as a spiritual journey for me. I felt like cycling has saved my life through so many aspects. And I've been writing a lot for 10 years now. I took it seriously like in 2014 when I rode
okay.
across the country. And when I rode across the country, I realized I just wish somebody told me this, at a younger age. I think a lot of people start finding cycling at an older age. But
Mhm.
man, if the kids found out how cycling could be, and how it could benefit them, and I mean, if I was in charge of schools, I would make everybody mandatory ride across the state or ride across the country to experience the world a little bit, right?
Mhm.
So yeah, ever since then, I got addicted. I was like, oh man, I gotta cycle every US state. That's what I started doing.
Uh-huh.
And at that time, it was like Facebook Live. And that was kind of it.
Uh-huh.
There's not a lot of like, I don't know, I didn't know anything about influencer stuff or creating a YouTube channel. Um, so yeah, I think within 5 years, I hit about 48 states out of the 50.
So it was,
I'm missing Hawaii and Alaska because I have to fly there.
well, Mike will
Oh,
tell you about Hawaii. You'll
oh
definitely
boy.
want to put that on the
Oh,
calendar. But what
Yeah.
did it
oh, I
save you
bet.
from? What did it save you from? I know that you had
Well,
said that you'd always been
yeah,
a rule follow. You'd been a rule follower, do what you were told, get straight A's, that type of thing. Right? But what?
yes, definitely the rat race. I had a business before the cycling. I had a PR, a publicity for. I owned a publicity firm in LA and represented Hollywood celebrity stuff. For 7 years. It was
Yeah,
a very,
that's not a rat race. No, not at all. Right?
oh,
That's
it was beyond a rat race. It was
yeah.
everything draining. And I was working 90-hour weeks. And on top of that, it was my own business. So I was running so many hats on
Yeah.
top of it. And it got me really sick. It was so bad that I was hospitalized.
Oh
And
wow.
Oh
um,
shit.
yeah, and when I truly believe when you're super stressed, your body has a way of getting it out somehow. If it's not taken care of, this stress inside your body is gonna create something. And it created a tumor for me. And
Wow.
so I really felt like my lifestyle, not just my work, but me eating junk food and not exercising and not even taking a break and going on vacation. um I got sick. I ended up getting ovarian cancer.
Oh.
uh yeah, ovarian
Uh-huh.
cancer. I had a tumor as big as 10 pounds.
Wow.
um, it was bigger than a baby. Let's just tell you that, right? Babies are
Yeah.
under 10 pounds. This tumor was 10 pounds taken out of
Wow.
my stomach. And the fact that it didn't blow up, the doctor was like shocked that it was still intact enough for them to take out completely. And my cancer ended up being like stage 1. I'm like, what? Like,
Wow.
I mean, obviously I have to go through chemo still, and I lost my hair and all of that, but it could have been worse, right? A 10-pound could have exploded and I would have had internal bleeding, and that would have been the end of me.
Yeah.
Right.
And um, I realized at that time, I'm like, you know what? When it's time for us to go, we don't think about, hey, what's in my bank account?
Right.
Take care of my car, take care of my house. We think about, what did I really accomplish in this lifetime? Have I had do I have a purpose here? And did I really love somebody? Like those basic things.
Mhm.
And I wasn't doing that correctly. Even my marriage was almost like not in the best place at the time. When you're working 90-hour weeks, you don't have time
Yeah.
to be a mom, you don't have time to be a wife. So yeah, it was definitely a life change. And a friend of mine, once I started healing and recovering and becoming cancer free, a friend of mine said, "Hey, you want to go for a bike ride?" And I'm like,
Oh,
"Okay."
okay. Yeah, okay. I was going to
Yeah.
ask. I mean, you could have taken up knitting, you could have taken up a
Yeah.
book club, but okay, a friend gets you into cycling, right?
Yeah, and I couldn't even do like 10 miles. I was dying.
Yeah.
I mean, I've ridden a bike at a young age, as when we were kids. So that didn't, I guess you don't lose that. But it was really tough to do that 10 miles. And then it started to become 20 and 30. And what I realized was the camaraderie that came out of it. Like I didn't know that there was a type of people that enjoyed cycling and they were happy,
Mhm.
right? And I mean, not everybody was completely healthy, but they're striving to be healthy.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, it was like, wow, there's like a whole culture of happier people and they're riding bikes. And
Yeah.
yeah, and so I ended up befriending crazier people. There are people that wanted to do centuries or people that wanted to do challenging rides. And that's when I started following them basically. And
Yeah.
yeah, one day I went online and I saw this group riding across the country called Fuller Center Bike Adventure. And boom, I just signed up and I said, "Hubby, I'll see you in 9 weeks."
Holy smokes.
And I
Holy,
completely like I had to check out. I had to mine was a little bit like extreme, right? But I had to. I felt like it was almost like a life or death situation in a way, kind of like a midlife crisis
Mhm.
that was forced on me at a young age. So yeah,
Like a
and it was
total reset of sort, right?
yeah, it was the best thing that happened to me. It made me feel more alive. Let's just say that. And all because I wanted to climb a mountain. And then, by the way, that trip, I promised myself if I was going to do it, I was going to ride every single mile and not jump on the van or
Yep.
not quit that day of riding. Like this was going to be for me. If I was going to do it every mile, let's do
Yeah.
it. And yeah, every mile was done. And on top of that, I didn't even get a flat for 9 weeks, no flats. I'm going to give it up to Continental Tires.
uh,
Yeah,
oh,
no
now we
flats for
we have
9 weeks.
another sponsor now, Continental Tires. Way to go.
Oh,
So
yeah.
Well,
how before you sign up, I mean, it sounds to me, and correct me, it sounds to me like you're kind of an intense person. I mean, if you're working LA, and please don't take that the wrong way, but if
No,
you're
no, no
in
problem.
LA working with celebrities 90 hours a week, you got to be pretty intense. Now you to do this cycling thing, how long are you riding a bike before you go, yeah, let's just ride across the country?
Probably when I signed up, I was only cycling maybe less than a year.
wow.
Oh,
Yeah,
woo.
less than a year, and it was kind of like it just the stars aligned basically, and then I made the decision, and yeah,
Yeah.
didn't turn back, made even lifelong friends. I still the friends that I rode in that year, actually I'm celebrating 10 years of friendship with them this year.
Nice.
And
Yeah,
Nice.
there's something about going through an adventure. Now yours is a grand adventure, but you go through these adventures with people. There's the highs, sometimes the lows, and you all help each other get through it. And there's this connection that's you know, it goes beyond like a normal friendship, you know.
exactly.
And
It's hard to
yeah,
describe. You have whoever, when you cycle and you go through it with somebody, that it's hard to describe, right? It's just, and
yeah,
I,
it's not like close to comparable to our partners, significant others. It's just different.
It's
It's a
different.
different connection, soul connection, I would say.
Yeah. Well, I love that, you just threw yourself at it to use Dave's word, so intensely. I mean, that's a massive undertaking. Now, when you were on this trip with these other people, how many miles were you putting in a day, and
Plane or on the trip?
on the trip itself?
Oh, we were averaging 75 miles a day, 6 days a week.
Yeah.
Um,
Wow.
Does it,
Eh,
I guess it doesn't matter elevation. We have to get the mileage in.
Yeah.
I think the whole trip was about 3,600 miles. And because this was a charity driven bike tour, on our off days, we would actually volunteer.
Wow.
Whether we would volunteer to paint somebody's house that's elderly, we would fix, a wheelchair ramp for a handicap. We different like household
Oh,
fixer up.
wow.
Yeah, we would kind of like a Habitat for Humanity kind of thing, where
Yeah.
you would help, somebody's messed up home, just to fix it up just a little bit, for them to live in it much better. So, I mean, it was an immersion of giving yourself your time, giving somebody love and getting love back. Like, can you imagine having that 24 hours a day for 9 weeks?
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
was pretty awesome.
I want to do
All
it.
right. Yeah. Yeah.
Where do you sign up?
Yeah.
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 No, I mean, I
realize,
I've kind of adopted this
you were
mantra,
saying,
which
I'm
is
sorry.
ride for good, right? So if I'm gonna throw my leg over a bike, it's either for my own physical or mental health, or I'm doing it for someone else. You're right. My days of doing it just for me because I want to race and be at top is kind of gone. I certainly miss those days, but now it's just, what can I do? And so I to your point, I get involved in a lot of charities and ride for a lot of charities. There's so much good that can come from riding the bike, right?
Absolutely. And I think racers miss out on that, actually. They're missing out on a big component of that part of cycling when we
Yeah.
do give back. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no doubt.
Mhm.
All right. So now you come back from this journey, right? So 9 weeks, you come back, and then how does this turn into something even? I mean, because that's big, and now you've turned it into something even bigger, right?
Well, at first I had to get rid of things. I realized I had quite a bit of toxic people in my life, in my work
Mhm.
life, that the energy that I'm bringing back as this new person I had to figure out how to maintain it. And you can't maintain positive, good energy when you have a lot of negative energy around you. So luckily I didn't have to get rid of the husband. He was
You
very
made the cut.
supportive.
Yeah.
He was very supportive, but yeah, and I knew that I was not in the right environment. Entertainment, obviously, I'm sure you guys know, is a little tricky for positivity, at least the kind of energy that I wanted. I needed to get out of that industry, and
Yeah,
so
because if you
I had
didn't,
to
you'd be
shut
right
down the
back where
business.
you started, right?
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe
Yeah.
in the hospital again, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah, and I couldn't, who knows? I might not even come out.
Right.
I got lucky
Right.
on this one. So
Right.
Yeah.
I got lucky that I was allowed to have breaks, to take a break and realize what's going on. Not a lot of people have that chance. They
Mhm.
lose life or never even figure it at all. Some people are still lost.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that I am in the right journey. I feel like I am. So
Yeah.
All right. So you do some house cleaning, right? You get, if you will, get rid of the negative parts of your life. And so you break some friendships. Did you give up your business?
I gave up my business. I was kind of in limbo for, I don't know, a year, year or so, but I made a promise to myself that I would cycle every summer at least somewhere. And
Mhm.
around the US to do those 48 states. So I had something consistent being gone for 2, 3 months, cycling somewhere. So that built a lot of mental, emotional, physical strength. And I also started getting into Ironmans. And it's probably because the friends that I have there
Yeah.
you're into cycling, you're bound to meet up with triathletes. So and I even did the whole hiking up the Half Dome in Yosemite,
Oh yeah.
which is ridiculously crazy. That was the most scariest thing I've ever done without any training. Here I am thinking, yeah, I rode across the country, I could do anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wrong,
Yeah.
wrong. Hiking is a whole different muscle.
Whole nother world.
Yeah, yeah.
Yep.
So yeah, Half Dome was intense. Especially with the wind moving I don't know if you've ever seen
I
people
don't.
hike. Oh, you've seen
I
it.
get nauseous just watching the video.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. I've cycled
One and
through
done.
we did a trip where we cycled from Sacramento to Yosemite and we rode through Yosemite but I've never and we've had vacations in Yosemite, but I've never actually hiked Half Dome. So
But
I don't
I mean, you've definitely seen it.
Oh
Yeah, for sure.
yeah, it's
Yeah,
incredible.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I can't
Yeah.
imagine.
So
I'm, as much as I like the really intense cycling, I don't like the hiking. I don't know. I just, the whole time I'm hiking, I'm just thinking, man, I would be enjoying this way more on my bike, you know?
that was a one and done thing. Okay.
Yeah.
I was like, oh no, the hiking
Uh,
was a little too much, but the experience was another, life-changing thing for me. It just made me
yeah.
realize, hey, if I could do this, what else can I do? And so,
Right.
That's a big part of it, I think, is, uh, you talk to anybody that doesn't really ride a bike and you tell them, oh yeah, I rode to the top of whatever. They're like, wait, what? You did what? You know? And oh, I could never do that. It's like, but you could,
Yeah.
but there's this sense of accomplishment, and no matter how long you do it or how many times or whatever, there's always like this euphoria about it where you get to the top and you just, I don't, it's a combination of all the things, right? It's the view, the effort, the endorphins are just going
the
bananas,
camaraderie. Yeah, if
camaraderie.
you're with somebody suffering with you, yeah,
Yes.
the camaraderie.
Yeah. And yeah,
Yeah.
I used to say I wish I could bottle that and just give it to everybody so they could understand it, but it takes a while before you can get to that level to where you could ride your bike up a hill and feel those things without just being completely miserable. And yeah, but there's something
But
about
I don't think we get away from that though. I think that
oh.
those hills are always going to be miserable. Well, some of them,
Yeah,
it never ends.
right,
But
right.
it's always the summit that's the best part.
It
The
is.
worth. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's actually very much back to that whole riding for good or the racing thing. Again, well, my friends still race, and I still sometimes am envious that my fitness isn't there that I could compete, but I definitely get a lot more out of riding to say the top of a mountain or doing an event that's 140 miles and the
Nice.
satisfaction of getting there and knowing what I've accomplished versus an all-out sprint for 2 hours, in a 40-mile, road race, right? There's some kind of more satisfaction that comes out from that bigger accomplishment than just, a quick 40-50 mile road race where
You
you
can't see
finish in the
anything.
middle of the pack or something. And you
Yeah.
didn't see anything. You didn't see
Yeah, you
anything.
can't
You're
see
right.
anything other
Right.
than the back tires of
Yeah.
riders.
And so,
Yeah.
some other guy's ass with his, logo on the back of it, right? So it's,
Yeah. Well, that's one of the,
Okay.
we talk a lot about gravel on this show, you know, because both Dave and I do a lot of gravel events. And that's one of the appeals of gravel is, you know, there is the race element. Sure, there's somebody's going to win, of course, but it falls more into adventure. And that's one of the things I love about your page is this sense of adventure that you know, whether it be in Greece or India or wherever, you know, you're having these grand adventures. It almost, you do a great job of balancing like, hey, we're cycling. It's about cycling, but it's also with what you showed. There's food, there's hiking, there's culture. So you do a good job of kind of implementing the adventure element to your travels, and that's something I
Thank you.
really
Appreciate that.
like. Yeah.
I
So
think
yeah. So oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was just gonna say that out of all the cycling, I guess, influencers, I'm really excited that I get to be in this niche of that implementing that travel element.
Yeah.
Because you know, it's nice to look good on a kit, but let me see some landscapes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
so
Yeah.
let's talk about that. So now you come back, you get rid of this negative energy, and now you make a commitment that you're going to do something. So you're going to ride, you're going to do the first 50 states. So before we go international, let's talk about here. You finish your ride, you say, okay, now the next state I want to do is, let's just say, Montana, right? Have you done Montana?
Oh yeah. I would
Yeah.
say that's my number one favorite state. Well, next to California. I'm biased with California, but
Holy shit. And
Montana.
listeners, we've never met before. That was just a lucky guess on my part. We've never met.
Well, you didn't go
Montana's
deep
my
enough
number
on.
one.
That's right. You didn't
Yeah.
go deep enough on the Instagram, Dave.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
I knew
so
Montana was number one. But my
oh,
question was,
okay.
is
All right.
Montana still number one with all the things that you've
Oh
encountered?
yeah.
Still
I
Montana.
Well, ooh, there's some really good ones out there now. But I would say at least for the US,
Yeah.
Montana's my number one state. It's
Wow.
just magical out there for cyclists. I really think it's a cyclist paradise, especially going up Glacier National Park. It's just, I
Right.
think, an underrated park. But man, for cyclists, don't come, guys, don't come. The,
Don't
the,
ruin
the
it.
car
Don't ruin it.
drivers and the backpackers don't go. Only
Yeah,
cyclists. It's
that's
Yeah.
so
right.
beautiful out there.
So,
I
so
love it.
don't yell at me for not going deep enough on Instagram, but then do you just say, okay, this is where I'm going to go? Did you initially put it out there that you wanted people to come with you, or did you just say, I'm going by myself and hubby, I'll see you in 3 months?
I fell in love with this bike tour adventure group. So wherever they went, and if it's a state that I haven't been to, I was like, okay, I'm there. And that's how
Okay.
I pretty much filled up every state because they were going, they go across the country every year. That's their fundraiser.
All
So
right.
you have to go and do the whole trip. You could do segments. So I was doing a lot of like segmented trips. Like usually my trips with them would be like 4 to 5 weeks typical every year.
Okay.
So yeah, so because I loved their charity so much. Um, that's what I
Right.
that's what I did. So they said Montana. Ooh, that's like this year. Actually, I'm going back with them after I don't know so many years. I haven't been with them, but they're doing a trip called the Wild West, and they're riding from Moab all the way to Glacier National Park. So they're gonna hit the
Wow.
three big parks, and it's all about the history of the Wild West. So I just thought that would be great to talk about and write about.
Yeah.
Um,
Right. Right.
Now, so when you so you said like in the summer, you go for 2 or 3 months.
yeah,
So hubby holds it down while you're gone, or does he go with you? Or
yeah, and he holds it down, but also I've really made a commitment to find jobs or projects. I still had some clients here and there, but I told them I had to be remote. So while I was writing, in those months, I was working at night wherever I was. And
Oh,
Got it.
I bought a whole Verizon, what do you call it? Like a portable,
Yeah.
hotspot.
Wi-Fi.
thing, right?
Yep.
It's Wi-Fi, portable Wi-Fi. So anywhere I go, I could be able to look up on get work on my computer. So yeah, I was camping on the computer. I'm the only one awake by 11 midnight sometime. You
Oh,
gotta do what you gotta do, you know? And I was so tired. Sometimes we do centuries
Yeah.
and I had to make it work.
Yeah.
Still had to pay bills.
Yeah. Because
yeah, that's big. 75 miles, and then you get back, and then you still got a full day's worth of work. Holy shit. Yeah.
And we had nobody was, cleaning up after us too or feeding us. We had to rotate and feed ourselves, right? So not only I had to work, but maybe I had to wash dishes, maybe I had to clean, maybe I had to cook, right? Not on top of that, we had to still shower and we still
yeah.
had to do laundry. I mean, it
And
was
you
just
still and you still had to paint a house.
on our off days, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
That's the
yeah.
day off, Dave.
Yeah.
That was a day off.
Yeah.
But man, I came out of
Wow.
there so fit. I think I like lost 30 pounds or something like that. It was because we were on the move
Right.
every day. So
Well, it's the things we do for the passion that we all have towards the bike, you know. It's some of the things, the hours, but one thing's very important, as you know, I'm sure, is taking care of yourself and getting enough rest, because it sounds like you were on a pretty big hamster wheel there. So how
yeah,
did you, were you able to get enough sleep trying to do
um,
all the things?
in the beginning it was really tough, but I ended up building a team around me that
Mhm.
worked remotely, so I didn't have to do every job of mine. So it was nice that I was kind of duplicating myself,
Mhm.
where I'm not working. I was probably now it like I think maybe the second or third year of working remotely, I was probably maybe only working 8 to 10 hour days out of the 30. So I was able to build a process around a good team. So
Okay.
yeah, if you're traveling and need some, if you're traveling and you have to work, you got to have a team around you. It's going to
Yeah.
be
Yeah.
really, sometimes you might not even have internet, right? When where you're
Yeah.
traveling, you're going to get your work done.
Yeah.
So
We experienced that when we went to the Alps, you know, we were staying in these tiny mountain cottages in the middle of nowhere. And yeah, just basic connectivity was a problem for us a lot of the times, you know. So
yeah, no,
let's talk about some of these other countries you've been to. So how many countries in total have you been to?
I just started maybe 2 years ago going out of the country.
Mm-hmm.
So let's see, I'm on my number 8 right now out of 150 that I've listed on my that I've done I made a thorough research on every bike friendly country I could get into, and I found 150 out of
Wow.
the 187.
Yeah.
So
So what are the
yeah.
ones that you've done? I'm curious.
Colombia, my gosh, that's a whole different world right there. I love Colombia. So Colombia, Jamaica, South Korea, obviously, Greece, US, Costa Rica, India. I know I'm missing one. Philippines.
Yeah.
Wow.
So yeah,
Wow.
Wow.
all over
Eh,
the place.
Did you see family when you were in the Philippines? Didn't you say you're from
I
Philippines?
did. I did. That was a whole story in itself. I haven't seen my dad and my mom divorced when I was a kid. So to see him after, I don't know, 30 years, that was something else.
Wow.
So
Wow.
my bicycle took me to see my dad for the first time in 30 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Incredible. Yeah. So what
Yeah.
brought you going way back? What brought you to the United States originally from the Philippines?
My mom, it was just, I think she was just going through a lot. And during the 80s, there was a big push for, I guess, people from Asia to work in the US. So yeah, so she got hired to come out here in California, and my grandparents on her side was already here, so she wasn't coming here by herself. We've
Okay.
already got family. Yeah. And so
Yeah.
yeah, she wanted a new life, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. Wow.
Wow.
Yeah. So, okay. So of all the countries, what is, I know it's probably hard to, because I get asked this question quite a bit. It's like Italy, France, or Switzerland, right? Because those were the three countries I visited. But
And that's hard to decide which one.
they all
But
have,
it's interesting she hasn't done those, which is like
Um,
instinctively that's where I would go first, right?
yeah,
yeah.
I think I would.
I would love to, but I'm going where, I don't know, where the opportunities open up for me. You know,
Hmm.
I would love to go to Italy, actually. I would love to go, but it hasn't opened up yet.
Yeah.
We'll have to see.
Well,
But so far, these other countries, because I do work with tourism organizations too, because sometimes they would want some cycling out there and filming, to build cycle tourism. Cycle tourism is really blowing up since the pandemic. More and more people are braver than just riding around their neighborhood. They want to
mhm.
go out of state now. They want to do grand fondos. They want to do bike tours. Um,
Uh-oh.
Did I freeze or she freeze?
Oh yeah, I think
She did
she's
say
locked
it's
out.
cold there. Yes,
Yeah.
it's cold there.
Yeah, well, hopefully we can get her back. Um,
I don't
yeah.
know, Mike. After listening to her talk a little bit, it's going to be like Hill repeats on Del Val don't seem as intriguing.
Yeah. Yeah. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And looking at her Instagram this morning, yeah, I was just reminded of that trip that we took, and
Yeah.
all the all the all the incredible incredible roads, but not
See,
just the roads, but like the buildings, the architecture, the
so
cultures. Yeah.
so so yeah, so let's think about that though. If you had to do it over again, right?
Yes. Yep.
Because you were a bit on a mission. We've got to do these climbs, and I'm going to get up them, and I'm gonna I'm going to pin this one, or Mike, I'm going to get up to the top, and I'm going to come back down and ride again with Bo.
Yep.
If you were to do it again, would you just chill a little bit, and maybe the pace wasn't as so frenetic, so you could do a climb and then enjoy the village, or like that's it seems to me what she's doing, right?
Yes.
I'm not here to climb every climb. I'm here to see the country versus so, but you're shaking your head no.
Yeah. I mean, there were times where we like Furka Pass comes to mind, right? So we climbed to the top of Furka, and it's incredible. And then you look down the backside, and it's like, oh my God, there's another 50 miles of descent. I mean, it's
Mm-hmm.
just this winding insanity. And I was like, if it was just me, I'm taking that descent, and then
Yeah.
I'm gonna figure out how to get back out of there,
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, it's hard because it's like, and maybe if I had this travel agenda where I'm traveling every summer, maybe I wouldn't feel the pressure to,
Okay. Yeah.
kind of knock them all out. But yeah, I want to go back, and I'd want to go back and just take it to another level. Even there's so
Yeah.
much, there's just so much, and I'm not the most balanced individual, as you know. Am I but my wife says, well, you did your cycling trip, so now we're gonna go over there and we're just gonna go enjoy ourselves. I'm like,
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah.
I'm like,
Okay.
so I'm not gonna bring a bike at all? Is that what you're telling me?
Yeah.
You know, and so I mean, it may still happen. You know, like if we went to, because we didn't go to Tuscany and you know, some of the you know, some of these other places where touristy places.
Right.
We basically went out into the mountains and um yeah, so
Yeah, you went for a
maybe
specific purpose, I guess. I'm
yeah,
just trying to say now, and I think you raised a good point. If you had a chance to do it again, or if you knew you were going to do it every summer, then you don't have to do France, Italy, Spain. You go, okay, this year I'm doing France. Next year I'll do Italy. Next year I'll do the Alps, right?
right.
Or something like, you could break it up, and maybe then you could bring Stella along, and she could, you could spend a couple of days in the mountains and a day or two riding around Tuscany, then go back and ride again. You don't feel like you've got it's not a once in a lifetime adventure, right?
Right. Yeah.
And that's the beauty of what Monica's got here.
Right. And
Sorry
she's
about
back.
that.
Yeah, no
My
problem.
internet, what's going on? So I'm just using my phone.
Okay. Yeah.
You
That
would
that
think
works.
Korea is the most Wi-Fi friendly country, and I don't know why this moment in time it's not that strong.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
strange.
you got heated floors, but no Wi-Fi.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
know what I was saying, but we'll move
Well,
on.
it
Yeah.
was about, we were talking about countries and where you'd like to go, but the opportunity hasn't coming up. So
Oh yeah. So yeah, the countries that I've visited and I've never thought it wasn't a country I would pick. Like India, I never would have picked that.
Mhm.
But the opportunity to come out to Kerala, I don't know if you've heard of that state, that particular area in India before,
yeah,
but I tend to, for some reason, I tend to be cycling in countries that are not like considered a cycling destination, right? Like for Colombia per se, people still feel like there's a stigma on the whole safety issue in Colombia with the whole
right. I was
cartel thing.
Yeah.
I was
Yeah,
going to
so
ask that. I was going to ask it. So yeah,
yeah, that's I mean, everybody thinks that, and I thought that, but when I got there, I was like, wow, it was totally blew my mind how people absolutely love cycling there. It is embedded in their culture, the whole
Yeah.
cycling. And I believe the Colombians are very well known to be mountain climbers,
oh
and
yeah,
they
yeah,
no joke, man. Their cities are high in high altitudes. That's probably why a lot of Tour de France teams they go out there to train for
Yeah.
hmm
altitude riding. And yeah, you could the city there could be at 12,000 feet and you have to ride, anher 2, 3,000, 4,000 feet to go to another
wow,
mountain. They're used
right.
to, yeah. So they're goats up there. And
Yeah.
they treat you like family and the food's great. I mean, the whole travel aspect. But it's getting really popular. I'm seeing a lot of cyclists going down there now.
So
So
for
I really
our audience though that haven't yet seen you on Instagram, what is the opportunity that takes you to Colombia, then the opportunity that takes you to um, Korea, and then to India? Like what is that opportunity mean?
Well, it starts off with meeting people online. A lot of these people I actually met on Instagram. They either work for the tourism or they either have their own travel agency or bike tour operator or even a cycling club. Um, and they would say, "Hey, come out here. We'll come ride with you." Stuff like that. So when things, I usually get invited, and I'm like, "Oh, okay, that might be a really good opportunity." So like for
Yeah,
India, I was invited by a tour operator, and the fact that India is definitely not considered a cycling destination, I was more intrigued to go and check it out. Obviously, when I say I was going to India, they're like, "Oh my God!" The first thing they think of is Mumbai or New Delhi,
Yeah.
where
Yeah.
there's like, 20 million people on the road.
Yeah. Just stay away from there.
So yeah. So they focused on riding in southern India, which shocked me how amazing Kerala is. It is so nature friendly. And the routes that they took me were all of them were pretty much back roads off the beaten path stuff. So we're not technically always in all that traffic. And it was a combination of like climbing a hiking day and a kayaking in the afternoon, kind of thing. And so to me, I'm also a storyteller, or like a traveler. I've grew to that. So it's like I look at it as, oh, it's cycling, but it's also, wow, nobody's talking about cycling in India. Maybe I need to talk about it.
Got it.
And
Got it.
showcase, something unique there. And so, and Kerala, man, it is one of my, actually, I would say it was one of my favorite tours so far. It surprised me how beautiful it is to ride there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and so how many different languages do you speak?
Oh, only 3.
Okay,
I am
well,
learning Korean though. I am learning Korean. I really want to get good at speaking, but I speak Tagalog, English, Spanish.
okay, because that was a problem for us, going to the 3 countries. And what I ended up doing was I would look for people that had some kind of American beacon on, whether it's a baseball hat or a sweatshirt or something. And then I would ask for help if I gotten stuck, in a situation. We were able to kind of manage pretty well, but there were a couple instances where we'd kind of hit a roadblock. And yeah, but thankfully in each of those instances, I was able to find somebody that could help us through and got through it.
Oh,
But going to all these different countries and not knowing the language, it's like you get off the plane and then, nothing makes sense. All the
yeah.
signs, you can't read them. Everything is just, so that in itself is probably
very-
pretty tricky.
Mhm.
With these,
Really.
yeah, with these opportunities that you get, is that part of a package, or do you have people meet you at the airport,
Yeah,
that kind of thing?
yeah, a lot of times even though I'm technically a solo traveler, when I go to the country, I would say I'm usually never alone. It's the people that I've met online that I've built a trust with, and they would pretty much kind of host me or showcase me. That way I don't always have to know what a sign is. They could speak the language for me. It's
Mhm.
always good. Like I know bike packing is great, right? That everybody, there's certain people that love bike packing, but not everybody can do bike packing. Um, and specifically because most people don't have the time.
Mhm.
When people want to ride, if they want to ride in another country, maybe they'll have 10 days, right? 2 weeks. So they try to find, it's always good to probably find something that is already taken care of for you if you only have that short amount of time. So
Yeah.
those are the things I like to talk about, because I want to share content where it allows people to want to go there. There's a lot of videos out there that just showcases cyclists going, right? And you could see their experience, that you can live vicariously through them, which is great. But I want my storytelling and content to entice them to go there themselves. And so I think most people that are into cycling, I would say, may have only 10 days to check
Yep.
out a country, check out an area.
You're like the Anthony Bourdain of cycling.
Yeah. Oh, would love that. Yeah, kind of like that. Kind of like,
Yeah.
I mean, I would really love to pitch the type of story, like a travel channel for cyclists kind of thing. Is where I'm leading into.
Yeah.
So yeah, but more focused on the holiday aspect, more focused on, and obviously there's going to be suffering in there, but you know, all of us, all three of us here would love a beer, or like, you know, dipping ourselves in the spa once in a while.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
And
no, but
enjoy
that's
a nice
part of it.
hot shower.
Yeah. But that's
And
part of it
get a good
is
bed.
you if you've come that far, then you want to, you don't want to be eating McDonald's. You want to immerse yourself in the culture, and you want
Yeah.
to get the food, and you want to stay in a, whatever you're staying in, but you want that's part of the experience is going, and that was one of my regrets. I mean, I've traveled so much for business, but you never really get to the opportunity to immerse yourself in the culture. You're staying in really nice hotels. A lot of times you're not eating the local cuisine
Yeah.
because it's a business dinner versus going there and actually getting off the grid, if you will, right? Because
And that,
like you said
yeah,
with India, you went to a state that I've never even heard of, right? So
me neither.
yeah,
Yeah.
Me neither.
Yeah.
And I would have not gone if I didn't know where I was going to. Like the tour operator knew like where to eat, where to go. And you know, with India, most of the people, when I asked about India, people would respond to me, "Hey, watch out with your stomach, because Indians could eat really spicy foods, and I have to be really careful, right? We're writing. It's like the last thing we need is a stomach ache." And so,
right.
Huh.
and so they knew, you know, places that were good to eat. And I didn't have any stomach issues. So stuff like that, like a lot of my worries are kind of lessened, right? When there's somebody there locally that can kind of guide you. And
Right.
that's I would say would be a very important thing if you're traveling in other countries. That would save you half the headache, actually, if you
Right.
have
Yeah.
somebody there that can guide you. Even if it's just a cycling club, you know, they know where all the cool routes are
Yeah. It's
if
Well,
you're
one
not
thing.
what's
into the whole bike tour thing.
It's one thing to get the information, but it's another to get the knowledge from a local, right? Because
Yeah.
the information can send you in a bunch of different directions, and with most of them being wrong. Whereas the knowledge, like, someone would just say, "Oh yeah, you don't want to do any of that. That's a nightmare. Go over here. This is a place to eat. Go ride, south off of this highway, and you're gonna be great." Stuff like that is
Yeah,
invaluable. Yeah.
absolutely.
it really, I think, I don't have to tell you this, but you are onto something, right? I mean, so I always equate that, but going back to my business travel. Like if I tell people, yeah, I went to London. Okay, yeah, yeah, right. So what? I went to Sydney on business. Yeah, okay. When you say, yeah, I spent some time in Johannesburg and Cape Town, suddenly they're like, whoa, I've never been there, and so and I would submit that if Mike and I talk to our friends, yeah, they've all been to Mallorca and they all went to Italy to do Stelvio and whatnot. But you tell them, hey, there's some really great riding in Colombia or India, and most of them would go, geez, I never thought of that. Right?
Yeah.
We always gravitate immediately. I've got to go do Alpe d'Huez, right?
But
Versus
where did
say,
you get, yeah, where did you get that excitement? I think the tourism and a lot of videos online and YouTube, they really did a great job of branding Mallorca,
yeah,
branding a lot of these nice climbs. But you would be surprised how there's certain climbs in Colombia that I would say would compete with these mountains. And even with, you know, Italy is a neighbor to Greece. And I know I haven't been to Italy, but I have been to Greece quite a few times now. And I'm like really shocked that Greece is, I would say, 80% mountainous. It's not a cycling destination, or at least not a lot of people look at it as a cycling destination.
right.
Or it's more like, let's go to Santorini and
Yeah.
check out the, but
boy, they got some amazing riding out there and less cars too. Great roads, but for some reason it's not a lot of cyclists. And so
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like,
No.
it's a hidden gem. And it's right
Yeah.
next to Italy. So you know that they have the same mountains.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So
Yeah. And that's my point. This group of friends that I have, and I love them dearly. So hopefully they won't listen to this episode. But they rent the same place in Mallorca every year,
yeah.
right? Mix
Well,
it, I mean, and this is a new epiphany for me. This is like mix it up, right?
Yeah.
well,
Yeah.
I think a big part of the appeal to a lot of cyclists is they're the roads that are used in the grand tours. And
Yeah.
so if you're a
Oh,
fan
yeah.
of professional cycling, you want to go do Alpe d'Huez, you want to go do
Of
Sa
course.
Calabra, you want to do these roads that are just legendary. Some of the
Absolutely.
biggest cycling battles ever have taken place on these same roads. And so going to those areas, there's a lot of lore that's there,
Absolutely.
we were there were so many times like in France was really amazing because they were doing all the climbs, all the popular climbs, and the pro cyclist Thibaut Pignon's name
Oh yeah.
is painted on the roads
Wow.
everywhere.
That's so
And
cool.
I can't imagine being a professional cyclist, and no matter what climb you do in your home country, your name is painted across the road. Can you imagine? I mean,
Oh
it-
man.
yeah, it was just something. It's so cool when you see something like that. And then we did another climb where and it was in the tour that year, and it had Jonas, Tade. It had all the names were painted on the road, and of course Pino. Pino's everywhere.
Yeah.
But
Nice.
you just get a sense of like, I'm actually really here. This place that I've been watching all these years as a kid, and reading about in the magazines before you could even watch it. So I think that's maybe why Greece, they don't tour through Greece during the Tour de
Mhm.
France, and there's no
Yeah.
grand tour of Greece. But that's not to discount the cycling opportunity there.
And I think that's my point, Mike. If you have the means, and what we were talking about when Monica was offline for a minute,
Yeah.
if you've got the means, then go do it. Go. I mean, absolutely.
Absolutely.
Alpe d'Huez, boom, boom, boom. But then, all right, now I have the means, and I'm fortunate enough to be able to go again. Find someplace else and explore it, right? And so,
Well,
Yeah,
here-
because
that I mean,
the world is so big.
yeah,
And
right.
Yeah,
cycle
but
tourism you would be surprised how many of these countries now realize that cycling is very important for not only their people, but for tourism. And so they are building cycling infrastructures everywhere in the next, I don't know, 10 years. Their governments approved a lot of bills in many countries to build bike paths and to expand Eurovelo and many other European sections. So yeah, I mean, it's just, I'm really happy to see. I mean, I'm really shocked that even India now is looking into building more cycling infrastructures. They've built, I think, like a 20-mile like a road track, a solar paneled bike path. Just I think it was opened it maybe 2 months ago. So for India to do that, that's really cool to see.
yeah.
So, and Asian countries are really behind with cycling infrastructures, and I'm seeing many of them realizing that yeah, they need to build more and more. So, yeah, I would say 10, 20 years, man. I hear France is going to be 100% um at least with Paris is going to be like 100% bike down there in Paris in the next 10 years is what they're thinking.
Wow.
And the whole country of France is 95% already marked for cycling paths. 95% of that
Yep.
whole country is cyclable.
Yeah.
Right. Wow.
So,
Yeah.
so, yeah, I mean, they're obviously France is in the forefront, but it's good to see many of these third world countries realizing that it could be good for them too. So,
Yeah, no doubt. And now I know you've been back to Greece. How many times have you been to Greece?
3 times now in the
Three
past
times.
year and a half. Uh-huh.
So I want to address Dave's point. Like he was saying, why not expand
M-
and go
Mike's all
elsewhere?
butthurt. Mike's
No,
all
I'm not. I'm
butthurt.
not. I'm not. I've only been once. I mean, I'm not butthurt at all. But what I'm saying is, like, when you're there, you realize, like, oh man, I just scratched the smallest little surface
Yeah.
of what's
Yes.
here, and
Yep.
next time,
Mhm.
like when you go, then you come back and you think, oh man, next time I go, I want to do this, 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 and
Yeah.
this. And then, maybe that next time sparks another, because I have friends too that
Just
do
yeah.
go to Majorca every year, and they love it, and they try to get us to go. Um, and I have a feeling because there's so much to do.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough.
So I think, don't bag on your friends too much. I think just like Monica, you've been to 8 countries, and yet you went back to Greece a couple of times because there's so much more to the story, right? And you want
I've,
to feel more of the culture and see more of the country. And
yeah, I've been to 4 times now too.
where's
So
that?
I've been to Colombia like 4 times already in
Oh,
the
wow.
years.
And
It,
what's your elevation? Like, what's your base elevation when you're in Colombia? Do you know?
oh gosh. Um, I know Bogota, which is their highest city, is like at 8 or 9,000 feet altitude.
Yeah.
Damn.
So
Yeah.
is there a big adjustment for you going?
Um, I could definitely tell that I'm more exhausted.
Yeah.
You got to breathe. Um, yeah, I would say you need some acclimation there. I don't ride, when I go there, I make sure I have a day or two to acclimate. Um, and walk around, hang out for a little bit, ride maybe like a easy recovery ride kind of thing to get
Hmm.
my lungs ready. But yeah, it's and just like with the US, right? When I rode one part across the country, I didn't get to do all of it, and I wanted to do every state. So like my goal really, if I do love the country, I want to go back and ride as many of its states, as many states as possible.
Love you.
I plan
Got
to
it.
go back to India for sure again, because India got 28 states. Colombia, I think they have, oh God, I can't remember how many departments. They call it departments, but I would love to ride as many of the departments. I've only been to 3 departments out of I think 24 in that country. So yeah, for sure, it makes sense to go back because one country is huge, right? Just
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
you rode one
Uh,
time, like you said, it's a very small, very minute part of
Right.
the country.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So when you're in Asia now, what are your targets? What from there you're going to launch into what countries do you plan to ride and see? I had some friends that lived in Thailand, and they were all over.
Oh yeah.
Had some great experiences.
Well, for sure, South Korea. I'm actually going to do a lot of Grand Fondos around South Korea. It's their thing here. So it's a perfect way to kind of immerse myself in their cycling culture.
Hmm.
Right.
So definitely, I'm already signed up for 3 of them in the next 6 months. So yeah, they're pretty crazy. One of them is like 120 miles, 12,000 feet of climbing
Nice.
in June. Oh my gosh, I
Now
hope I'm
now you're talking Mike's language.
yeah.
I love the
So
climbing.
yeah, so hopefully by then I'll be really fit and have the endurance to
Yeah.
do that. What else? What I love about Korea, the airport here is a really awesome hub to go to any Asian country. Like right now, if I look at the plane tickets from here to any Asian country, is like not even $200 round trip.
Oh, great.
So like Japan is only $80 for me. $80 US
Wow.
round trip. Manila is about the same price in Thailand. So I'm saving money living here to go around, and I could just go to the country and stay for a week and then come back, because the flights are so cheap. And so, yeah, I definitely have, right now I have Taiwan, Malaysia, Thailand, Philippines, and Japan. I'm eyeing those for this year, even if it's quick trips, like a week or two.
Cool. Oh man,
Yeah.
let's see. Jealous comes to mind.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Wow.
Listen to this. This is Mike. Now, you're sitting here thinking, do I want to ride in Japan? Do I want to ride in Thailand? You're gonna hang up from this call and you're gonna start planning your next ride. Mike's gonna get on a sales call about bikes.
Yeah, it's true.
And they're gonna be asked about his quota.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Life of a salesman.
you have a friend out here now in Korea. So if you guys ever want to come out here, I'm actually in October, I'm looking at cycling from Seoul to Busan, which is basically from all the way to the northern part of South Korea near the DMZ, all the way down to the south.
Oh, wow.
And it takes about 5 days. So it's a really quick trip to go across north to south of the country. So that's in October. That's probably a bike pack.
That sounds amazing. Yeah.
Keep me in the loop, because I prior to not even thinking about a bike, but Vietnam, visiting Vietnam has always been on my bucket list. And then there's that movie with Rebecca Rausch where she rode the Ho Chi Minh Trail.
Oh yeah.
And so I've made that leap from wanting to visit Vietnam to wanting to visit Vietnam on my bike. So
nice.
Yeah.
I've been talking to a few people down there. So if you are planning, for sure, I could connect you to them and see if they could help you out.
Yeah, Dave, you gotta talk to the cycling CEO and
I know.
Get it all laid out for you.
I'm kind of like the girl with the watches, right? Whatever you need.
That's great.
Well,
yeah.
I can't even ride in Nevada right now because I don't have a job. So the only thing I can do is afford to ride local. But if ever I get some money, that's on the list.
That's awesome.
All right. Well, I don't know if you heard that sound. I had this crazy sound. We have this building being built in my backyard for my parents. It's an in-law unit, and there's something going on. So I got to kind of wrap it up here. Monica, what I want to say,
was it a sound of something breaking, or was it a person
no, it
screaming?
sounded like a compressor, some kind of there's a cement mixer, and there's a big truck, and there's like this chaos going on. I'm glad that you can't hear it though.
Yeah, we're good. We're good.
Yeah, but Monica,
you are awesome.
Yeah,
thank you guys for having me. I think all three of us here have that love for writing, and I'm glad we're able to share.
Yeah.
And this is, the first of many conversations.
Yeah.
Welcome to Korea. Come out here. You know how
right
it
on.
is.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, Monica, so we want to, if you're interested in following along with Monica's adventures, what is you have a website, you have a YouTube. Why don't you go ahead and share with everybody?
I do. The Cycling CEO is all my, social media handles, from YouTube to Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. But I just launched the Cycle Travel Club, and Cycle Travel Club's on Instagram, and the website cycletravelclub.com. And it's basically a travel club for cyclists. So members in there, pretty much, it's kind of like, I would say it's kind of like a travel club, a cycling club, but with the element of traveling together and getting group deals, all that good stuff. And I give
Yeah.
away a bunch of stuff every month.
Yeah, I saw
those
you just gave
members.
away a cycling trip to Sonoma or something not that long ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow, very
Ooh,
cool.
yeah.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like a cycling club to the next level.
Yeah.
Nice.
Awesome. Well,
Nice.
anybody that rides a bike's going to want to be part of that for a chance to win a prize
Yeah.
like that. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
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 People are asking to give away a bike, so we'll see. They
Yeah.
want bikes, they want bike packing gear, they want trips. Who knows?
Yeah.
I'll definitely probably looking into giving away an actual bike tour itself too. So
Well, the
should be fun.
ever expanding world of the cycling CEO. Yeah, be sure to check her out. All right. And if you're Monica, thanks so much for joining us. I'm gonna wrap it up here before it gets before it gets too loud. But yeah, best of luck in
It's
future
1:30 in the
travels.
morning for me.
Oh,
Oh,
jeez.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, you're like,
Jesus.
yeah, wrap it up already.
Yeah, rag it up. Let's go.
I'm
Yeah.
having a blast.
Stop
though.
talking.
I'm really having a blast.
Well, and
So-
likewise,
Oh,
it was really great getting to meet you, and I'm sure you inspired a lot of our listeners, and we'll be following along with your journey. So
Thank
continue
you.
on.
For
We'll
sure.
talk to
Much
you guys.
success. All right.
Thank you guys. Talk
Peace.
soon.
Okay.
Take care.
Peace.
Take
Thank
care.
you.
Yep. And if you're interested, if you're out there and you want to support the podcast, check us out at cyclejerkspodcast.buzzsprout.com and hit the support button. And then also, if you like what we're doing, feel free to leave us a 5-star review. That really helps us in the algorithms. And, also if you want to give us some constructive feedback, we'd like that too. So if there's something
And-
specific you want to see, let us know.
And go check out Lean Athlete Strength.
Absolutely.
Our sponsors. Yes. Support our sponsors.
Okay.
So-
That's going to
All
do
right.
it. Thanks,
you,
everybody.
Mike.
Thanks, Dave. Appreciate you, brother.
Bye.
Bye-bye.